What's up, guys? This is Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with Tesla SPY in the markets. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. So, as far as the market's going, I just want to mention that despite the fact that we had these nice setups yesterday, so for example, on SPY, we had this slanted inverse head and shoulders right here, which was looking quite decent. The market still sold off despite that. Look at the QQQ, very nice setup from yesterday, which is why I was hoping we would get some kind of bounce. Right, we had this left shoulder head in the right shoulder. We had a bullish divergence, and we had lots of confluences that suggested the market wanted to go a little higher. But instead, we saw a little dip. We were trying to rebound. We were trying to get back up to our highs, and we just rejected. And we made new lows, which is a bad sign. So far, there's a lot of weakness right now in the charts. So as far as Tesla goes, we also had that slanted inverse head and shoulders. We had some promising news involving Donald Trump potentially alleviating more of these tariffs. Okay. But instead of doing that, we're not really getting too many major updates yet. Donald Trump even said that he's not really looking at the stock market. And for now, it's just like a waiting game. We're going to see what else changes as time goes on. And it wasn't really enough to get the market to balance. We're actually breaking these lows. So the question is, what's happening now? Unfortunately, guys, sometimes you could see really nice setups. They may not always pan out. So you have to be very, very open minded. For Tesla, we got to hold 260. If we don't hold 260, we have a gap to fill all the way down here around the low 250s. So there's a good chance we might be filling this gap right here. So please keep that in mind, guys. That is how things are looking. So instead of getting some kind of bounce, we are once again going to likely continue to dump. So watch that 260 support now. If that does not hold, we're going to be filling this gap. There's still a lot of room for this to drop. So there's still opportunity here. For SPY, we have support at the 200 EMA near 269, and we have previous support at 268. So sorry, 569 and 568. So excuse me, guys. So watch that 568 area. If we could hold that, there's going to be some hope for a bounce. If we can't hold that, then I do expect us to dump more. I'm going to be very straightforward about that. So far, the market is weak. It's still very dumpy. It was trying to bounce, but it failed. Despite the bullish signals and setups yesterday, the market ended up getting a rug pull. So, that being said, it's very rare for something like that to happen. Very, very, very rare. But in this case, it happened. So, let's make it very clear. We're watching 568. Can SPY hold that area? Can we hold that support right down here, or do we end up getting a rejection? Do we fail? Could go either way off that level, but for now, we're still looking bearish. The QQQ is also looking more bearish. We need to see this bounce near 485. It could dip a little bit more to test that, but there's no sign of a bounce yet. We were trying to bounce, and we got a rejection so far. The Russell is bearish. We have to see if it could bounce as well. And I forgot to mention, guys, tomorrow is going to be Friday. We have unemployment data coming out in the morning. So if you're holding anything overnight, be careful. And then we also have Jerome Powell giving a speech that could also affect things at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we have a head and shoulders on the Russell where we were trying to bounce and we failed. So this was showing some strength in the beginning of the day. Now we're going to be looking for a move closer to about the low 200s if that fails. On ES, unfortunately, looking at the 4 hour, we were supposed to hold this trend line. We were holding it, looking like we wanted to bounce. And then instead of holding this trend line like right here, so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So like right here, we had this yellow trend line we were trying to hold and we got a rejection instead. So if it does not hold above 5750, I could be looking for a dip to the low 5700s. We're still weak. We need to get back above this yellow trend line. Otherwise, we still favor the downwards direction. For NQ, we're on a downtrend. We're watching to see if 20,000 holds or not. If it holds, this could try to bounce. If not, it could be dumping more. So watch that. We have 88,000 as support on Bitcoin. If that dips, we could be dipping to 85,000. So give it some time. On Nvidia, we're making a downtrend right here. We need to hold support from the lows of yesterday, right? We have to hold this very, very soon. If we can't, then this is not going to be a good sign for us. We could be dipping even more towards 108. So keep that in mind, guys. There's going to be a risk of us essentially dipping more if that ends up being the case. Tesla is looking weak. Got to hold 260, otherwise 250 is coming. So we'll see what Jerome Powell causes tomorrow. Apple needs to get back above 238. If we can't reclaim that, we are still looking kind of weak. We haven't lost key support at 230 yet, but it's still looking weak. Coin is on a weaker trend. It was trying to bounce, looking quite good with the double bottom setup. It still is valid, but we need to see it break 225 to remain bullish. If not, we're going to be at risk of returning to about 207. Amazon. So here's the thing about Amazon, Meta, and these big tech stocks, right? I was showing you guys yesterday we had this um, inverse head and shoulder setup. This was actually looking quite promising. So this is the chart I was working with yesterday. And that's the reason why we got this like little dip here. We're going to be watching to see if this could have gotten some kind of bounce because we were holding support. But instead of that, it just dumped back down to these lows. So 197.5 is our main support. It's still relatively weak. Same thing with Meta. So if you look at the setup, this is what it looked like yesterday. We were hoping this would try to go higher, but instead it failed. So we're not back above 630. We could be looking for a dip to about 624 or below. MSTR, this is in a range right here. Sorry, not MSTR. Microsoft is in a range. We'll see if we can reclaim 400 or not. Otherwise, we could be dipping towards 391. Then Google's kind of stuck right here. We're still range bound on both of them. They're still looking resilient, so we'll give this some time. The VIX is on a bullish trend. We had the gap to fill, but it's not going to come down to fill that gap. It's still bullish. No sign of rejection on the VIX. So for now, the charts remain bearish. Tesla is bearish unless we could, hold 260, which is not looking that favorable. We might look like we look like we might end up losing it to start dumping towards the 250s to fill that gap. So that's looking a bit more probable. So please keep that in mind. Anyways, that is it for this one. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I just want to make it very clear that that's what I'm seeing so far, and I just, I just want to be very, very transparent about everything. So sometimes unexpected things could happen in the market, so we just have to keep our heads up, remain unbiased, and continue from here. Thank you for listening. Peace out.